Welcome back to Read With Me. I'm so glad you turned for our first real step into the Mahabharata. If you have your copy of Bibek, Debroy, please go ahead and open it. If you don't have it yet, just settle into a comfortable spot. Today, before we dive into first verse, we need to orient ourselves. Since we aren't looking at maps or a diagram together, I want you. I'm going to paint a picture of the world and the bloodlines that set the stage for everything we are. First, let's visualize the land. Imagine the Indian subcontinent, thousands of a vast green expanse known as Bharatvarsh. In the north central heartland, picture two great silver rivers, the rivers Ganga and Yamuna. Between them lies the Kuru kingdom. This is our center stage. At its heart sits the grand city of Hastinapur, and later the rising towers of Indraprastha. To the east, imagine the kingdom of Panchala, a land that will soon give us a queen who changes history. To the far mountainous west, picture Gandhara, what we know today as Afghanistan. It's the home of the silk veiled queen, Gandhari. This geography isn't just a backdrop, it's a living witness. Every forest, every mountain peak, and every sacred river we encounter in these pages was once a physical reality for the people of this epic. Now let's trace the family tree. It doesn't start with men, it starts with the celestial. In the beginning, we have Daksha and Manu, the ancestors of all humanity. But the story really begins to take shape. King Yayati. Picture King Yayati as a powerful but a restless king. He had two wives. From them, two massive branches of history grew. From his first wife came Yadu, the ancestors of the Yadavs, the line that eventually gives us Krishna. But it was his son Puru from his second wife who showed a level of devotion that defined the kingdom. When Yayati was cursed with old age, it was Puru who gave his father his own youth. Because of the sacrifice, Puru became the heir, and the lineage we are following became known as the Pauravas. It's interesting, isn't it? Even at the very root of this tree, the theme is already set: sacrifice, the and the way of our father's choices. As we move down the generations, we meet a name you will recognize: Bharat. He was the son of Dashanta and Shakuntala. Born in the quiet of a forest hermitage, Bharat grew into a Chakravartin, a universal emperor. He was so righteous and so powerful that the entire land took his name, Bharatvarsh. A few generations later, we meet King Hasti, is the one who cleared the forest and laid the stones for Hastinapur, also known as the city of the elephant. Then came King Kuru. Kuru was a king so devoted to spiritual practice that he plowed the fields of Kurukshetra with his own hands, turning it into a field of dharma. This is why, throughout our reading, the family referred to as the Kauravas, descendants of Kuru. Finally, the tree begins to tangle into the names we know best. We reached King Shantanu, whose heart was torn between goddess Ganga and the fisher girl Satyavati. This is where the great Ishma enters, the man who gave up a kingdom and a family for a vow. From there, through a series of twists and the intervention of the sage Vyas, we get two branches that will eventually collide. On one side, the blind Dhritarashtra and his 100 sons. On the other, the pale Pandu and his 5 sons, the Pandavas. As we start with this, remember these names. They are not just characters, they are the fruit of thousands of years of lineage, vows, and destiny. We have the land in our minds, we have the bloodlines in our hearts. Before we begin the heart of today's reading, I want to share a quick personal note with you. I'm recording this podcast from the comfort of my own home, and as much as I love these stories, I am human. I might stumble over a word here or there, or make a few mistakes while reading. English is not my first language, but my goal is to share the incredible journey with you as authentically as I can. I'll try my absolute best to make sure your listening experience is smooth, but I truly encourage you to get your own copy of this book. Having the text in front of you while I read will make this feel much more like a shared conversation between us. Now, let's look at the context of this epic through the words of the man who brought this translation to life. Introduction. To understand the Mahabharata, we must understand that it is itihas. This isn't just history, It literally translates to this is indeed what happened. It is chronicle, not a myth. While we credit Vedavyas, it's important to know that Vyas is a title, not a proper name. It means one who classifies. And there have been 28 Vyas Devas so far. This specific Vyas, Krishna Dvaipayana, was a dark skinned and born on a high island, hence this name. But the text wasn't cast in stone at one time. It grew over 1,000 years, roughly 800 BCE to 400 E, expanding from a core of 1,800 verses called Jaya to the 100,000 verses today. We are reading the critical edition produced by the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute between 1919 and 1960s. This is a scholarly cleansing of the text. Because of this, some popular nitty gritty details you might know from are actually the story of Ganesha writing as Vyasa dictated was a later addition and is excised here. In this version, Krishna does not physically intervene during the disrobing. The endless stream of garments is described as an extraordinary event, but without a direct prayer to or intervention from Krishna. Debroy argues that the Mahabharata is far more real than the Ramayana. The Ramayana is often like a cliched Bollywood film, good versus evil, but the Mahabharata is shades of grey. Duryodhan is sometimes called Duryodhan, which is a good word. Dharma is individual and conflicting. For example, when Draupadi needs help, he rarely summons Arjun, he summons Bhim. This leads scholars to wonder if Arjun was a later addition to the original core of two brothers, one strong, one weak. There is even a theory that the core dispute was originally over cattle, not land. In human evolution, cattle represent a more nomadic form of property. This suggests the Mahabharata might actually represent an earlier, more primitive stage of society than the civilized Ramayana, which, despite popular belief, placing it later. Finally, why this translation? So, Bibek Debroy acknowledges he stands on the shoulders of giants. Translators like Kisori Mohan Ganguly, Manmata Nath Dutt, and J.A.P. Van Buitenen. He took on this daunting task of 2 million words simply because, like Everest, it's there. This concludes the introduction. It's amazing to realize that we are just at the doorstep of something so immense. Every subplot, every digression mentioned in that introduction is a world of its own that we are going to explore further. In the next episode, we finally cross the threshold into the text itself. We will begin with section 1 called Anu Kramanika Parva. This is where the tale truly starts to unfold. Until then, find a good spot for your bookmark and keep those curiosity levels high. I'm your host, and this is Read with Me. Good night for now.